What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host that just came back from Wyoming, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. My parents booked tickets to see some family up there, and I got no notice. And so, yeah, there we go. And I also forgot to pack pants to Wyoming. So there's that. This story's called A Prom Tale from the Hells of a Retail Worker. Wanted to share a story that happened to me when I was an assistant manager for a then popular retail store that sold junior clothes and prom dresses. Prom dress season was in full swing, and we had moms and daughters coming in left and right. Our prom dresses ranged anywhere from $60 to $450. One day I was manning the fitting rooms when a mom and daughter brought up one of the most expensive dresses we had, covered in rhinestones, boosted sweetheart necklace, full Cinderella body, the whole nine. The daughter tries it on and comes out and is telling her mom this is the one. The mom asked how much it is, and the daughter tells her. Mom isn't happy. She tries to talk the daughter into one of the other dresses they've tried that's more affordable. Now you can tell at this point the daughter is not used to being told no and starts arguing. Arguing turns into shouted whispers, then turns into just shouting. The daughter says she's not taking the dress off, and that her mom was to buy it, no ifs, ands, or buts. The mom refuses. So you know what the spoiled brat did? She pissed in the dress. Dead ass serious. No joke. Stood there and peed in the dress so her mom would have to buy it. I'm sitting there staring in horror as she's screaming at her mom that she has to buy it now, as a large yellow puddle starts forming on the floor. The mom walks up to the daughter, no words, rips the tag off, stomps up to the counter, and pays for the dress. The daughter goes back into the fitting room to take the dress off. She comes out with it in a big wadded ball in her hands and sets it on the counter. Yes, still piss-soaked. The mom grabs the daughter by the arm, tells me to throw the dress away, sorry for what she did, and left, screaming at her daughter that she wasn't going to prom. Of course, being the retail worker, I cleaned up what I had to and left early that day. One of the most bizarre revenge instances I've ever witnessed to this day. That is absolutely bonkers. What is wrong with people? This story's called Why You Should Always Be Nice to Potential Hires. This is a bit of a long story about the value of being professional and nice no matter the position you are in. Mods and I had to change some details of the story since my wife's work is very specialized. She must stay anonymous since stuff like this gets around. My wife and I moved to our current city back in 2013. The standards for my wife's job here are different to the standard back home. She has an associate's degree and most employers wanted a bachelor's degree. However, nothing could stop her and she kept putting in applications. However, one of the employers she had sent applications to called her back. However, it was not to tell her she had gotten the job. Instead, it was the manager telling her how unprofessional it was of her to put in for positions that were obviously above her.
In fact, I'm gonna delete your email from our system. Please don't apply anymore. It's just a waste of our time. I'll send you a letter since you just can't seem to follow directions in my emails.
My wife, after she got over her initial shock, asked the manager for her name.
I don't see why it matters, but Ivanka Tulip.
My wife said thank you and continued her job hunt. Sure enough, she got the letter in the mail asking her not to apply anymore, citing inability to follow clear directions. My wife held on to this letter. I told her to throw it away, but she insisted on keeping it. Eventually, my wife landed a job at one of the biggest employers in the city. Not only that, but this employer was the main supply of business to the employer that was so rude to my wife. Well, my wife is an extremely precocious and hardworking person and eventually got her bachelor's degree and then became the manager over her crew. One of the manager's responsibilities was to decide who to send business to. My wife told her boss about the letter and what happened and used that as justification that if this is how a business treats potential hires, then they really shouldn't be trusted with their business. Her boss honestly probably did not care very much and just let my wife do what she does. Honestly, my wife is kind of a badass and it wouldn't surprise me if her boss just gave her whatever it took to keep her happy. Wouldn't you know it, the rude employer's business went way down. In fact, but my wife would only give them business if they were the last ones who could be called. This led to the most awesome meeting my wife has had this year. You see, to improve relations, the crappy employer set up a meeting with my wife and my wife's boss and the crappy business's top management. They needed this meeting to show how much value they could add. The day of the meeting comes and everyone introduces themselves. Finally, Mrs. Tulip says she is the manager and how nice it was to meet everyone. That's when my wife said, "Excuse me, I just want to be certain. Are you Mrs. Ivanka Tulip?"
Yes, that's me.
"Oh, excellent. I am so happy to finally meet you in person." Thinking she had an in with my wife, Mrs. Tulip was over the moon. My wife let them carry on and tell her how much value they could add to the business and how much they could really help out my wife's employer. This is when my wife says, "Thank you, but unfortunately, I feel we can't really give business to an employer who we feel has some ethical issues that need to be addressed." Big Boss from Bad Employers said, "Excuse me, we were not made aware of any ethical issues. What are you talking about?" That's when my wife brought out the letter that was signed by Mrs. Tulip. My wife then tells them that if they treat potential hires this way, then it was an ethics issue for my wife, and it would be very hard for my wife to give them business. Since she had concerns about the welfare of the business, she couldn't approve any more, too bad business than absolutely necessary. Mrs. Tulip turned white, and you could hear a pin drop on the other side of the table. My wife thanked them for their time, but apologized and went back to her work. We don't know if anything ever happened to Mrs. Tulip, but that business has since downsized and has gotten a reputation for being a poor choice to send business throughout my wife's organization. A quick edit. First of all, wow, I'm totally blown away by how much this post has blown up, way beyond what I was expecting. I'll address some concerns people have had. The business in question had multiple things going on, including bad outcomes from previous business that was sent in their way. I should have been more clear about that. To be perfectly honest, if I had known how much this would have blown up, I probably wouldn't have shared. To the folks who say this is all made up, I completely understand where you are coming from. I would love to give more details, however, it's just not worth it since my wife works in a small industry. What I will say is that anything you read on Reddit, you should take with a huge grain of salt. Believe it, don't believe it, totally up to you. I do understand where you are coming from though, and had I not been there and read this same post from your perspective, I would probably feel the same way. To the folks who think that my wife's only reason for doing what she did was the letter, it's not. All I can say is that the business in question would not have had any issues had they just done what they were supposed to do. That's all I can say about it. My wife's letter was kind of the icing on the cake and an example of poor behavior on their part. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed it. Have a great day. I have to get back to work. See you all on the internet when I get back home. Wow. You know what? I'ma choose to believe it. Why not? There's badass people out there. And honestly, I was thinking that at the beginning, like, wow, they really just tanked this whole business because of the letter. But then I was thinking, well, if that business allowed for that kind of management to go unchecked, then like, what else is going on there? So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Them being OP and OP's wife. Alright, this story's called Trying to Take Away My Games? I'll Take Yours. So a while back, I heard that a close friend of mine was talking crap behind my back about me. Let's call him Asshat. An example, I was dating a girl I've had kind of a crush on since high school. Everything was good fun and romantic until Asshat told her best friend that I said I had a threesome with my crush and her best friend. This is a lie, but she believed it, so that's the end of that. He was also telling people I have no friends and everyone hangs out with me out of pity. Also a lie. Well, how would you know? Naturally, since I've known him for 10 years and considered him a close friend, I called him to ask what was up. He started acting real childish and literally repeated what I said in a funny voice. Needless to say, I got pissed, so I decided to block him on everything. He has a problem with drinking or something, because after like 2 beers, he becomes the most annoying piece of sushi you can think of. So me not inviting him meant we wouldn't see him anymore, so that's that. He would continue talking smack about me, like that I was stalking his girlfriend and stuff like that, but I kept ignoring him. But he just kept going. Fast forward 3 months, I've been ignoring the bastard and not much was happening. Until one morning, I woke up and turned on my PS4 and see in my notifications that I quit a whole list of chat groups and see I accepted a friend request from XXAsshatXX. That is very similar to my PlayStation username, which is XXFuzzyTurdXX. Add me while I had him blocked. So I already kinda knew what was going on. But for those of you that don't, he still had access to my PlayStation Network account since we used to share games. He logged into it, spewed out a whole bunch of racist, homophobic, transphobic bullsnossage in the messages, went back down to his own account, and proceeded to report me for them. Naturally, Sony looks into it, sees the offense, and bans me. It started off with just a 2-day ban, then a week, then a month, and then a permanent ban. The thing is, if your account is banned, you can't access the PlayStation Store, which means you can't access your games. I knew it was him since there was a notification telling me I accepted his friend request. So at this point, I'm freaking furious at him and about ready to kill him. I called Sony and they looked into it. After 3 weeks, I finally hear back from them confirming that it was indeed an irregular login and irregular behavior. So they unbanned me, and so my rage died down a bit. But I was still out for blood, so to speak. Fast forward about another month or two, and I'm just gaming when I get a message. Just some dude saying he met me once on Warframe and he needed some help on Dark Souls 3. I was in a helpful mood, so I went to help the guy. He had no mic, so we only talked in messages. Nothing weird. He asked me what I thought of the DLC, to which I replied, "It's dope, but it's pretty freaking hard, bro." Lo and behold, it was Asshat on a different account, reporting me for saying frick. So, Sony banned my account again. I called them to explain. It had to be sent to the moderators so I would hear back from them. I didn't hear back from them in 2 months. All the while, I'm still hearing stories about Asshat spreading lies. And when I finally heard from Sony, they told me they warned me multiple times and now the ban is staying. This enraged me. I have never been so pissed off in my life. This dude, for no reason, decides to take away $10,000 worth of games from me and doesn't even have the balls to tell me why he's doing it. So, my initial plan. I'm gonna find him and kick the living crap out of him. I told our friend group and some of them didn't believe me since the screenshot of the notification wasn't proof in their eyes. So I was kinda going crazy. We were in sort of a lockdown in the Netherlands. Well, at least we were then, so I couldn't find or run into him anywhere. Word spread that I was on a warpath and he didn't show for a couple of get-togethers. I don't know if it's a coincidence or if he knew, but whatever. He wasn't there, I was fine with that. Fast forward another month. He broke up with his girlfriend and all of a sudden, she contacted me. Turns out they broke up and within 4 days, he had a new girlfriend. So she was also pissed and heard I was looking for him or his address. She had heard that and was happy to comply. I asked her about the whole situation and she confirmed it was indeed him. And then I remembered, say, don't you use his account to download his games? Turns out she did. So we came up with a plan. That night at around 2 a.m., she called me. She was ready. I told some of my gaming buddies to be up as well if they're down for some revenge. And of course they were. She logged in on Asshat's account. I unblocked the account and we proceeded to send me and my friends the most racist, homophobic, sexist, Islamophobic, just everything awful on it, including video of the adult variety, pictures of gore, sending random penis pictures we found online, and just yuck. We had an hour or two of good fun coming up with the most screwed up crap we could think of. It was true degeneracy. So of course his account got permanently banned as well. This felt good because I got my revenge. Payback was sweet, but still, I couldn't access my 400 plus games, so I wasn't completely over it. Until 2 months later, I get a magical email from Sony. After 2 months, they finally realize,
Oh, hey! The previous warnings were indeed not really warnings.
so here's your account back. So in the end, I have my account and all my games. And Asshat has a banned account with 300 plus games on it he can't access anymore. Screw you, Asshat! Suck on this Sony penis. Edits. People keep asking why I gave him access to my account anyway. So we used to be not best, but very close friends. Games are expensive. A new title can easily cost you $70. So to remedy this, I gave him my account and he gave me his. This way I could download games he already bought and he could download games I already bought. Also, when a new game comes out, we split the bill since we are sharing our account anyway. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 on release date for €35 is not a bad deal. I agree. Amazing game. Play it if you haven't. And also, don't mess with someone's game library. That's horrible. Take their money instead. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.